High-value men understand that they are the creme de la creme when it comes to manliness. They are the type of men who have a high level of self-assurance, and aren't afraid to take necessary risks. And while this swagger can lead to great things, it also makes them more open to experiencing rejection. Rejection can be a difficult thing for any man to deal with, and all too often it is connected with the feeling of not measuring up to expectations. Rejection also has a proclivity to perpetuate itself, as those who have experienced rejection at one time are more likely to be rejected again in their following endeavors. While this can most certainly affect those who don't have a great level of confidence, men of high value do not often take no for an answer. When these men experience rejection, it often affects them on a deeper level than those who do not possess such high levels of confidence and masculinity. And although they may not show it, that doesn't mean the heartache isn't there. However, this sorrow is not something that holds these men back from achieving their goals. In fact, it may be the very thing that motivates them to push extra harder the next time around. When it comes to relationships, rejection here is a different thing than it is in the rest of these men's lives. This is not to say that there aren't some men who use rejection as a means of inspiring themselves, and then moving on to even greater prospects. However, too often people rely on the idea of rejection to justify their own deficiencies in life. This isn't to say that men of high value are immune from this type of behavior. However, it can be debated that those who have been rejected by one person are unlikely to let themselves become attached to that type of failure. With this mindset, rejection can be a liberating experience, as it allows people the opportunity to work past their shortcomings and experience greater success. And while rejection may be hard for anyone to deal with, high-value men also have the added stress of wondering what they could have done to avoid the situation. This type of introspection is critical. However, it also can make these men more aware of their own strengths and weaknesses. And even though this doesn't stop these men from accomplishing their goals, it does give them a chance to re-evaluate before taking on an even greater challenge. So with that said, let's review a few ways high-value men deal with rejection. Number 1. They don't take no for an answer. High-value men understand what they want out of life, and usually set out to pursue it no matter what obstacles are along their path. And when they are rejected, they are often unwilling to let that stop them. These men understand when to take no for an answer, however also understand that they shouldn't do so until all other options have been exhausted. Rejection isn't always a negative experience for people like these types of men. In fact, it can be the very thing that pushes them to greater success, but only if they allow it to affect them positively. Number 2. Rejection makes them more selective in the future. Since high-value men understand that rejection is something they will inevitably face in life, they determine what works and what doesn't when finding a partner. That can mean things like staying away from high-maintenance partners, or those who want them to be something they are not. These men don't need someone else's stamp of approval to determine whether their lives are working out the way they should, and aren't afraid to tell people where they stand. Number 3. Rejection allows them to be more aware of their own weaknesses. Rejection can be a humbling experience, not only when it comes to romantic pursuits, but in the rest of one's life as well. People are quick to use rejection as an excuse for giving up completely. However, high-value men are able to see past this setback, and instead learn from their mistakes. Those who have experienced rejection often take that time to reflect on what they did wrong in the situation, and then work on building themselves into better men in the future. Number 4. Rejection motivates them to work even harder. When men of high value experience rejection, they don't let it stop them. This is because they view failure as a challenge to be overcome, rather than an indictment on their ability. These men understand that failure is part of the process, even if they don't acknowledge it out loud. It takes a lot of work to become successful, and some people will never realize that fact. When their attempts fail, these men don't give up. Instead, they use that as motivation to come back even stronger. Number 5. Rejection can set you free. High-value men are not defined by their relationships or lack thereof, however are instead focused on building better lives for themselves. When they are confronted with rejection, they take it as an opportunity to build stronger walls between themselves and the outside world. Men of high value understand that being alone means that either no one is good enough, or they aren't willing to compromise with the people they spend their time with. Number 6. Rejection doesn't define their character. These men are strong individuals who are often unaffected by the opinions of others. Instead of letting rejection define them or hold them back from pursuing what they want in life, they instead take it as a learning experience and move forward. Men of high value understand that rejection is just one person's opinion, not fact. They are unwilling to let the words of someone who isn't willing to invest time in them determine how they feel about themselves or their lives overall. Number 7. They're inclined to take rejection personally. High-value men don't usually let rejection affect them in the long term, however they may take it personally sometimes. This is because they work hard to create the lives they want, and sometimes they may feel being rejected as a direct attack on their ability. However, these men also understand that this feeling is misplaced, and won't allow it to affect the rest of their lives. Number 8. They play to win in the game of love and life. High-value men understand that being alone comes with many benefits, however it's also a choice they have to make when it comes to finding a partner in life. Instead of becoming emotionally invested in every person they meet, they instead play to win by choosing not to settle for anything less than what they want. And when they are faced with rejection, playing to win allows them to move on quickly. These guys don't let people who aren't willing to work with them have any power over their lives. They are selective about who they spend their time with, which means that being rejected is insignificant when compared to holding out for what truly makes them happy. Number 9. Rejection is not an excuse to act belligerent. High-value men are known to be assertive, however they understand when to draw the line between assertiveness and becoming belligerent. When faced with rejection, these men don't lash out, since they understand that doing so will only make them appear unhinged. Instead, they take a step back and reassess their strategy before moving forward. They don't allow themselves to get pushed around by others, since they know that it will only lead to a worse situation in the future. People can take a strong stand without becoming hostile, and these guys embrace this philosophy when faced with rejection. Number 10. They don't need anyone's acceptance or approval. When men of high value are faced with rejection, they should never feel as though there is something wrong with them. This is because they understand exactly who they are, and what makes them valuable to others. For example, someone like this may not be interested in finding the love of their life, but may instead want to complete a goal they've been chasing. These sorts of men don't need anyone's approval, and can still live fulfilling lives without it. They are oftentimes used to being rejected by others, which means their expectations are low enough for them not to be disappointed when someone doesn't reciprocate their feelings or interests. The more we explore these men's inner worlds, the better we will come to understand what makes them so alluring. And until then, the life of high-value men will remain one that is both mystifying and captivating.